So for this assignment, we had to watch the TED Talk by Dr. Brené Brown that was released in 2010. Her video focused on connection, and she said that connection is why we're all here. It's what gives our lives purpose and meaning, and that when she was studying connection, the stories that she heard were about disconnection, and so she wanted to find out what it is that unravels connection, and she found out that this is shame. And this is shame because shame is the fear of disconnection, or involves the fear of disconnection. So shame revolves around people feeling that they're not enough of something. They aren't pretty enough, they aren't smart enough, they aren't funny enough, they're not enough something. And so they have shame and fear, and then they're not being able to make these connections with other people. So during her research, she separated them into two different types of groups of people. And one was a group that had a strong sense of love and belonging. And she ended up describing this group as wholehearted people. The other group struggled for this, struggled for a sense of wholehearted, of belongingness and love. So she found out that the only thing that was separating these two groups of people was that the people that she described as wholehearted, they believed that they were worthy of love and belonging, and that they deserved it, and that's why they in turn had it. So she also said that the people who were wholehearted, they had the courage to be imperfect. They were compassionate, and they were able to love themselves, and that she said that in order to love others and be compassionate to others, you first have to be that way into yourself. She also said that they fully embraced vulnerability, and that they were able to make connections with other people by being authentic and being who they are, and who they truly are, and instead of who they think they needed to be. So she also said that they felt that this was what made them beautiful as a person, and that it was necessary for life. Vulnerability was necessary for them. So she said that now, currently, people try to numb things. And she said that emotions can't be numbed without numbing both the bad and the good. You can't have a drink and when you're like, her examples of numbing things, just having a drink or eating a bowl of ice cream or something just to take away the unknown and the stress and the emotions that are associated with being vulnerable while you're waiting for something to happen. And she said when you're numbing fear and pain and the things that are uncomfortable, you're also numbing joy and happiness, and that's just why it doesn't work. And it puts these people in this endless cycle. So she said that people also try to get rid of uncertainty. They want things to be certain, and they are this way, and that if you don't think they're this way, then you're wrong. And she said this is what we have in politics today. There's no longer discourse, there's blame. And she said that blame in research is described or defined as a way to discharge pain and discomfort. And so the question that we had was, how does her discussion relate to legislation on a state and federal level? Well, if people are constantly blaming the other side instead of having a conversation to figure out which side's ideas or thoughts are best and what's best for the people and what policies would have the greatest benefit, they're arguing about it and they're blaming the other side. They're not being honest. They're just looking for a way to discharge the pain and discomfort, and because they don't want to acknowledge that one side may be right versus the other, which is not good for anyone in the long run. She said that people also pretend that things do not affect other people, and and then when they're doing this, they're failing to be authentic. And I feel like that is a huge problem, especially for government leaders in politics. They try to, and they're not being authentic. They're being who they think they need to be, or who they think we want them to be, to have more popularity among voters and the people in general. And this is a problem. We can't make progress if they're constantly blaming the other side, or they're failing to be authentic. So I feel like this is how it relates to our legislation, because we're not able to make progress because one side's constantly blaming the other, and we don't have a lot of authenticity. So this was my thoughts. I also really enjoyed this video. I enjoyed listening to Dr. Brown and thought she had some good points. So thank you.